Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and specifically Canada, just like the name implies. I'm your co-host. You can find me on Twitter at ProfitMick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Grant, on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. We are into the thick of it now, Mick. There's no turning back. COVID is kind of like in the rear view mirrors in the NHL world, I would say, and it kind of feels like we're back to normal hockey, normal NHL stuff. Kind of feels good.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I mean, I noticed that Sidney Crosby isn't playing tonight in Ottawa because of COVID, so
he's not. I read a report earlier this week is that he was targeting a return on Saturday. So, you know what? That makes me even more confident of some of the advice that I'll be doling out later.
Hey, sweet yo. So yeah, but you're right. It does feel kind of just like normal hockey. There's hockey throughout the week. Like TSN sometimes has hockey games. That's kind of weird. I didn't know that they were allowed to broadcast hockey, but I'm pretty sure there was a hockey game on TSN at some point this week, and I was like, wow, it's like regular life.
Did Sportsnet feel that bad about robbing TSN? They're like, you know what? We'll give you the Washington Capitals versus the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That's literally what happened. So.
And I bet you they still play the Hockey Night in Canada theme too. They're like, well, we paid $2 million for this, so we're going to get our value out of it. Hockey Night in Canada, Washington versus Columbus.
Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, poor little TSN. So this is your first show. Welcome. We're going to run through some headlines. We're just going to talk about kind of the big pictures, big stories, what's going on with each Canadian team. If there's like an overarching narrative in the league, we could touch on that. We got some gambling advice, some fantasy advice. We're going to open some cards, look at some girls. It's really just hanging out, just a bro hour. So just enjoy, sit back, relax. As I'm scrolling through NHL.com's homepage, the top story, I haven't heard about this, so this is actually breaking news. I'm breaking news on the pod right now. One of the headlines is Shaq opens chicken stand at Islanders Arena. And if we click on that, Shaquille O'Neal spends time with veterans, opens big chicken at UBS Arena.
You got, it's fucking Saturday, man. There's got to be something else to talk about here.
Well, I mean,
no disrespect to veterans, but I mean, Shaq opening a chicken restaurant, is that really, that's what we're leading off with? It kind of feels like the Shannon Stewart of leading off. Not really a lead-off guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I saw that. I thought it was funny. Tucker Poolman was suspended 2 games. I just didn't want to talk about something negative. That was I realized we're going to spend a lot of time on that situation after the fact, so...
Tucker Poolman's going to come up no matter what. I mean,
yeah, this is a big actually pod. We got Tucker Poolman references, Shaq references, Ovechkin passes Brett Hull for 4th all time on the scoring leads. All are our friends of the show. You know, Tucker Poolman, Shaq, and Ovechkin.
I'm not going to let you gloss over something either, and this is not hockey related. However, fried chicken is just taking over the world, man. Like, you can go literally anywhere these days and get a fried chicken or like a spicy chicken sandwich. And I used to, and this is going to be me, old man yelling at a cloud brand, but I remember when you had to go to like the niche markets to get a good spicy chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. Anywhere. Mucho Burrito, which does not even do sandwiches, does a spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, no, it's up there. I mean, you want to talk about random things we did this week? I watched Super Size Me 2, which is about chicken, and it goes into a whole industry of fried foods and fried chicken in the chicken industry. So,
and for those of you who don't know, Mick once ate 51 barbecue chicken wings in like 28 minutes. It was less than 28 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So he loves his chicken. I love my chicken. We take our chicken talk seriously. Maybe, again, so I think every episode we kind of come up with these new diversion episodes. Like, one, we're going to do a 6-pod mini or a 6-episode mini podcast series on Blackhawks. Maybe chicken sandwiches are in the future too. I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a 2-part mini on chicken and chicken sandwiches.
Our opinions can be bought. So if you're any local Calgary restaurants that want us to talk fondly about your chicken sandwiches, hit us up.
Yeah, you know what?
And we'll be bribed. The more you pay us, the better the reviews are. So
We're not hiding anything here. One thing you'll always get is unbridled honesty. So the more chicken, the better the review.
That's how we roll. That's how we roll. So on to headlines. Speaking of chicken, Brock. We're not going to be talking about the worst team in the league, with the Arizona Coyotes, and I imagine they have phenomenal fried chicken in Arizona. We're going to jump up one to the Ottawa Senators. We're starting things off right. The frisky, as they were called, Ottawa Senators find themselves in the basement of the NHL. For shame.
For shame, Ottawa. I can't believe. I think the only time I bet on them was the time that they won. I think they only have one win this season. Losers of 6 in a row. What's been most disappointing is they're at home and they just lost to the Kings midweek 2-0. They got shut out. And their offense, and I suspect that this is one of the growing pains of having a young offense, is sometimes it just doesn't work. And that's kind of the funk they're in right now. Their offense is letting them go. Goaltending's actually been serviceable. Matt Murray had a great outing a couple nights ago. He's out. I can't remember, some sort of injury. But Philip Gustafsson, he's been actually a breath of fresh air for the Sens. So if he can keep up his play, it's just a matter of time before the Sens offense starts to click.
Sweet yo. Yeah, I did not realize they were doing as terribly as they were. Oops, that sucks. I might have to make some changes somewhere else in the podcast because of that new information. So, yikes. But yeah, no, not what you want to see. They didn't really obviously move the needle too much. Those LA Kings were just pesky, you know. They were like, they came and they just kicked all the Canadians' asses this week. Like, they were just like, if you're a Canadian team, we're beating you. We're not gonna be a good hockey club, but like, we will beat Canadian clubs.
Ooh, another breadcrumb for later. But you're right. The Kings 3-0 on this trip. They beat Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, I think in that order. Yeah. Montreal, Toronto. And 3 games in 4 nights, Montreal, Toronto back-to-back. I did not expect this from the Kings. And no. We're not a Kings podcast, but I will say regression is going to hit them hard. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's move up a little bit. Like, feel better about ourselves. We can get to 30th. So we jumped one whole spot. We can talk about the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, well, I mean, the entertainment value of the Canadiens never dries out. No. And Carey Price rejoined the squad this past week. I think one thing was interesting because when he initially entered the program, the player, I forget what they call it. They have a specific name for it. The assistance program, whatever they want to call it. It was kind of being conveyed that it was for mental health reasons. Mm-hmm. And then, lo and behold, it comes with Carey Price. I don't know if this was a presser, if he made a release or an announcement, but it was alcohol related. At least that's kind of what they were getting at in what I read. So I guess he let himself spiral to a dark place and had to figure out how to dig himself out. And I'm glad he did. But it was just kind of interesting to me that the way the story was conveyed early on was kind of different than how it played out later.
Yeah, and somewhere I had heard, and like it's one of those things where you fall into certain holes of the internet and you kind of hear whatever you want. So I had heard that Carey Price was going in for like a drug or alcohol issue, and I think I made kind of light on it. One of our, maybe the pods this year or something like that, and then you kind of like, I don't know, you were like, oh, it's for his mental health and good for him for getting help. And I was like, well, now I'm making fun of a guy because he's depressed and he's trying to get help, and I kind of felt like a dick. Versus I had heard somewhere that it was something drugs or alcohol related, right? So it's
all right. So this is your turn to return the favor. You can go ahead and be dickish towards me, and or shame me so that I feel like a dick. So anything. Fucking tabula rasa, man. Blank sheet. You let her rip here.
Anything. I can do whatever I want. Wow, I can just make you feel terrible. So, well, you know what, Grant? I'm gonna just leave it because you're neck deep in a ball pit right now, and this is not the first time I caught you in this scenario in your life. So.
Well played, Mick.
Yeah. Well...
Analytically, the Habs are. I just gotta get one sentence in. They're better than their record implies. Carey Price coming back will kind of elevate them. That's all I gotta say.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, as not a Montreal fan, I like watching them fail sometimes, but like seeing them being 30th is kind of depressing. I think the club is, in theory, better on paper. They play better hockey than where they're at, right? Like you watch a Montreal game, you're sitting there and you're like, I get it. They don't really have that spark offensively, but like they should not be the 30th worst team in this league. Anyways,
you know what? Okay. Mike Hoffman, I I keep having to remind myself Mike Hoffman plays in Montreal, but anyways, he's going to get the engine going.
Nice. Sweet. So then, jumping up a couple spots, again, still in that basement, not looking great, we get the Vancouver Canucks, 25th. Good job, Vancouver.
Vancouver is as bad as their record implies. And I'm going to continue to say this until it actually happens. Travis Green is not the guy to coach this team.
Yeah.
You see it night in and night out. I stopped tuning in. I bet on Colorado the other night, and I stopped tuning in when it was 3-0, maybe 12 minutes in, something like that. And that's just kind of a perfect metaphor for the Vancouver Canucks, and that is it's analogous to the effort you're going to get from them every night. It's just like defensively it doesn't work, and offensively it just comes and goes. They rely too much on their power play. It's just, they need to sort things out in Vancouver.
Yeah, me too. The only thing I see is once in a while some shade being thrown somewhere around on the internet. Apparently Vancouver doesn't really like Toronto fans, so if they follow Leafs Twitter once in a while, like Vancouver haters pop in. That's about all I got. But I'm thinking if you're in the bottom like 6-7 teams in the league, maybe you shouldn't be throwing shots, fan bases.
And that's not even, Vancouver might be 6th or 7th in the standings, but they're dead last in terms of actual city. Screw you, Vancouver.
Yep. Yeah.
I've been waiting, I've been trying to heel turn for at least a few seasons now. It's not working, so I'm going to continue yelling until somebody starts to hate me. Then we can develop a good organic rivalry.
Smart.
So if it doesn't work, Vancouver, it's gonna, maybe Ottawa's next.
Smart. Suck at Vancouver. You suck. But we get to jump up. We're not in the top 10 yet. If we get to 11th, though, that's a big leap. Makes you almost feel good about yourself. We get to a team that is clearly as good as a record indicates. The Winnipeg Jets at 7-3-3. I imagine if you watch them play, look at any type of analytics, you're like, that is exactly where their record indicates they should be this season.
Yeah, I don't know. This team, I have such a hard time. There was a time when I was optimistic about Winnipeg. It wasn't so long ago that we were both very optimistic about Winnipeg, and this is their window. They're doing what they can with it now, but they're going to pay for it sometime down the line. I don't know when, but sometime.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I really have nothing for the Jets.
I have something for more on the Jets, but that's coming later.
All right.
Wink.
All right. We'll take a little bit of a pass there. I kind of alluded to a little bit of what I think you might be talking about earlier. So if you were really paying attention, you'd be like, oh, I get that reference. There you go. Now into the top 10, though. And lucky number 9. No one's ever said that or called it that. We get the Calgary Flames. The entrapping, the team that is the Calgary Flames. So what's going on with the Calgary Flames?
Well, you're not going to beat an introduction like that, Nick. I don't think that we can really add anything else to the Calgary Flames to elevate their status on our podcast. But I will say this. I don't know why Daryl Sutter can't figure shit out on the road. He's consistently getting outplayed on the road. Well, posting dominant metrics at home. And the only thing that I can think of is his system, is it just designed for line matching? Does he rely so heavily on line matching that he doesn't really worry about everything else? Because it doesn't make sense that they have such, you expect a drop off on the road, but not as substantive as what we see with the Flames. So, they did. That being said, I was surprised Dan Vladar, not a friend of the show, he stymied the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, and that kind of caught me off guard. Yep. So I don't know if they have this hidden gem in Dan Vladar, but I think that was his 5th NHL game and the first time he's posted a save percentage above 90. So
I watched that fair last night. It was good. You know what? I mean, it literally looked like a Toronto Maple Leafs game that they were going to lose, though, right? They've got this team. It's coming in on the second night of back-to-back. They're tired. They've got Dan Vladar starting in their goalie, 5th start, and kind of looked like he had his number for the most part, right? Obviously, Austin Matthews got the best of him in overtime. You stopped him once, but you can't stop him twice. I was already ready to make some type of Darth Vader comparisons, right? Watch out for Vader, he'll get ya. The comparisons, but obviously that's not it. The Calgary Flames offensively, and maybe at home they're differently. there was a sequence where it was 3-on-2. They had the puck. Jack Campbell was just done. He was laying on the ice, flopping around last night. At no point was I concerned that these 3 Calgary Flames were feverishly trying to score on Jack Campbell late in the third. So I mean that probably says something, right? Like most teams, you should be like, oh no, I'm concerned. As a fan, I was like, no, they're gonna fuck this one up. Klingman or whatever, who was trying to shoot, was not very good. It was as good as Mick playing with his like little plastic hockey stick, passing to Grant, passing to a stick we'd put on a pylon or something like that. That's about as intimidating as the Flames offense looked last night. So yeah,
we should get a game of mini sticks going again. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the conclusion from that story. Is that's where Calgary is.
Yeah, what I penciled in is mini sticks game must !
Must. Speaking of, I guess the Toronto Maple Leafs and that affair, we can jump up to 5th and we get to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So yay, Toronto! It looks like doom and gloom in Leafs land kind of went away, right? From last week. Had a pretty good fare against Boston, right? It was a pretty close matchup. They kind of blew it against the Kings, and I knew it was coming. And I was doing something, and I just forgot to gamble, forgot to bet on the Kings, and oh, that's a shame. But they bounced back against Philly, had a good showing. Calgary had a good showing last night. Maybe they dropped the ball against Buffalo tonight, but it looks like things have kind of normalized. The big guns are playing well. Defensively, they look all right. Jack Campbell looks like he's a top 15 goalie in the league. Yay, Toronto.
Yeah, so they are starting to progress, but not nearly as quickly as I thought they would. Like, I thought they were going to have, like, a big outburst and the snowball would start rolling, but they've made this past week way tighter than it needed to be. And I haven't watched any of the games to know what's actually going on. But are they snake bitten offensively? Are they just are they bringing pucks off the post? Like, why is Toronto not finding the back of the net is the question I don't have the answer to. But what I am confident is that they are going to find a way to do that. Yeah. And that is, like, Austin Matthews is a guy who's still a progression candidate. Him and William Nylander, I haven't seen them on a line together, but from a box score perspective, they seem to have some chemistry because they're always involved in each other's goals. Obviously, they skate on a line together. They play on the power play unit together. But, it's kind of it's akin to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in the sense that, like, one is very highly correlated to the other, especially on the power play.
Yeah, and I think more of it is just we saw them trying to play the more high offensive output games earlier in the season. It was biting them in the ass. So I think it's actually just a change of how they're actually playing, where they're trying to play a little bit more of a puck control, better defensive system, right? Establish kind of that part of the game, and knowing the offense is going to kind of figure itself out, right? Because there was, high danger scoring chances. I imagine if you look at the game last night, they were 2-3-1 versus the Flames, right? So like they're getting the chances, they're just not capitalizing on them 100% of the time. But their defensive system's looking much better in the last week or two, right? And that's just coaching adjustments, players kind of figuring stuff out. And
well, yeah, we'll. I'm expecting more of the same, and that is more victories. And if it's going to be low scoring, so be it. But they are in line for a few more victories. As crazy as that sounds, that they continue to outplay their opponents, but as you saw last night, they had to sneak it out in overtime. As you mentioned, they lost to the Kings earlier in the week. So, greener pastures await the Leafs.
There you go. And if we had to jump up to number 3, look at that. Number 3, we get to the formidable Edmonton Oilers, sitting top of the mountain once again. They continue to kick butt, right? Doesn't matter who's there. They could be down 4 or 3-2 against the Boston Bruins in the middle of the week. The big bad Bruins. Connor McDavid says, "Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna show you all up." You know
what? They've been actually propelled by Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl, I looked into it midweek, and he had something like 14 points over his past 6 games, something like that. And he's only turned it up since then. They had at least a couple last night, and he had a couple more against the who did they beat Boston, then they lost to Buffalo. Yeah. Against Boston, he had a couple points, and he might have even had 3 last night. So this guy, it's crazy to me to see that Leon Draisaitl plays second fiddle to Connor McDavid, because they're both just dominant. And maybe they need each other. Maybe there's this dichotomy that exists that lets them both thrive at Edmonton. But whatever the case may be, as an Oilers fan, it's been absolutely exciting to watch. The one thing that I will say is that they seem to play down to their level of competition. So last night, third game in 4 nights, second night of a back-to-back, you're playing in Buffalo, kind of a flat spot. It's going to happen, but they lost to Buffalo. A couple nights before that, they lost to Detroit. So it's not really, you got to be able to bring it night in and night out, and you can't drop those, especially to teams like Detroit and Buffalo. And this is to entirely diminish the value of those franchises because they are shit franchises right now. Those are games you have to win.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're kind of almost seeing this is kind of the opposite of what the Leafs are, right? Like, it's this high-power offense that kind of kicks it and goes, and rather than trying to change their system, they're just letting the offense kind of propel them to victories this season, right? Rather than kind of work on their system early on. And that's why you're probably seeing those losses to the Detroits or the Buffaloes, right? Because sometimes goals just don't happen, right? Like, best player in the world, sometimes he's just not going to find the back of the net, and you're lose to the Buffalo Sabres for no reason. Versus if it was kind of more of a team game, in theory, you should be able to kind of have corrective issues and stop those things from happening. So it's kind of nice dichotomy we have kind of going between the two top Canadian teams. And
yeah, hopefully this is foreshadowing. What I've always, I had this theory for the longest time, and that is I always thought Montreal was going to be the team to bring the cup back to Canada. And then after that, I thought it was going to be an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final. Montreal fucked that up last year, but I'm still fingers crossed for an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final. And our best chance at it would be Edmonton versus Toronto.
Yeah.
And kind of a metaphor for the political landscape. There's something there deeper than just the superficial Oilers versus Leafs, but I just feel like that would be the most exciting Stanley Cup finals to watch. Edmonton versus Toronto. It would basically collide two hockey worlds and bring the cup back to Canada. So, you know what? Maybe I'll talk myself into a futures bet, one of these podcasts where we can see if I can find a site that lets me parlay Stanley Cup or Eastern and Western Conference finalists and make a substantive real life and pretend wager to make sure it happens.
Sweet. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. And speaking of the Oilers, I sold some, I had a little Wayne Gretzky McFarlane figure with a little Conn Smythe, and I had these knockoff World Cup of Hockey McDavid and Draisaitl. Some guy from Edmonton just bought them this week, so put some money in my pocket.
Yeah. I'm really kicking myself. I was at some sort of market a little while ago. This was many years ago now, actually. And they had Connor McDavid rookie cards for $20, $25. And I was looking into the value of them now. And yeah, a lot. This card market pickup has definitely increased the value of those cards. So I think I saw them up to 150 or so. So really kicking myself.
Yeah, especially in this market too, right? There's enough Oilers fans that, in theory, somebody's collecting cards out there wants the McDavid. It definitely has that premium price on it. So I guess we're going to the mall and Tim Hortons after this. So
yeah. Well, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Why we even kid ourselves with that? All right, so that's it for headlines. That's kind of catches you up with what's going on. Let's look ahead to the future, though, and do a little bit of bragging, because we got a little bit of bragging to do on this show, and we're going to jump right into our Dirty Fantasy segment. We're going to look at our FanDuel lineups, and we might as well go back and brag about just how well we did last week before getting into it. Grant, I think you had a pretty good turnout, didn't you?
You know what, Mick? I did have a pretty good turnout, and I entered. So I had initially entered this in a Saturday deflection for 25 cents. I finished 50th out of 7,185 people. Turned my 25 cents into $1.50. However, I was so confident in this lineup that I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a $1 contest as well. I ended up 9th out of 1,190 people, turned my $1 into $8. So that is my 125 ended up turning into $9.50. I ended up going with, just to recap the roster, give you some highlights. I think McDavid was a big part of this thing. Matthews last week. So Matthews, 37.8. Lucas Raymond, 33.6. Brent Burns on Saturday, the late night 32.5. And thank God I changed Stastny to Ryan Hartman. I talked myself into it live podcast. Went from 0 points with Stastny to 24.8 with Hartman. He recorded 1 goal, 6 shots, 2 blocks. Ryan Hartman, give him a big flex for me. But I wasn't the only one who had success last week. Mick, how'd you do?
Yeah, I did pretty well myself. I think I entered one out of such like a $50 person tournament. My $1 entry, I got third, and I got $5. So 5 times return on that little profit there, which is good because I was starting to bleed a little bit of money. I think I'm back up to like where I was kind of start of a football season. That's not terrible. I mean, we got to talk about my like all-star MVP. 2 block shots from Logan Couture, 3.2 points. What a waste of my time. But my Yanni Gord, William Nylander both got 18, 17 points. Pasternak, nothing special. Defensively, I think, is where I really turned it around. My Alexander Pectorangelo pick against the Montreal Canadiens at 27.5 points. And Jared Spurgeon was a random dart throw that I had against Pittsburgh. Almost 30 points, 29.6 points. That was huge. Tyler Bertuzzi in my utility spot at 2 goals at 44.8 points there. And then I had Robert Lehner, so I got that goalie win, which was huge. And got me to a 208 points, or 208.7 points. Not bad.
That's all right. And the fun doesn't end there because we have another Saturday to try and replicate our success even. Mm-hmm. Who do you got on your lineup tonight?
I got to click upcoming, not live, because obviously nothing's happening right now. So right now, I think I just went into a 10-man 50-50 for $1. So I'm just trying to basically double up my money. I'm struggling. I struggled. I put together a little lineup. I like UC Saros against the Arizona right now at 7,700 on the back end. Arizona, I don't think they're good at hockey at this moment in time. So I'm going to take kind of the easy layup. They're like minus 300 favorites or something like that. So I'm like, well, I might as well take that goalie, right? It seems kind of like a no-brainer. Save a little bit of cash. And then other than that, like, I don't love it. I have a lot of mediocrity on this team. And I don't know. I'm hoping maybe we can like talk through this and I can like make some changes. So as of right now, both at 6,500, I got Dylan Larkin and Mark Scheifele at center. Drake Batherson at 6,100. Matt Duchene at 5,800. Seems kind of like a wasted pick. Pectorangelo again at $6,700 on the defense. I did like that. I got Mackenzie Weegar for the Florida at 4,900, and then Pierre-Luc Dubois and Travis Konecny at $5,400 and $5,300. A lot of mediocrity. I'm not feeling confident.
When you start rattling off your lineup, I felt confident for you because I think that you got a lot of good stuff there. I think that you kind of keyed in on some of the things that I've also keyed in on. And, like, don't discount Matt Duchene because Matt Duchene has been playing out of his boots this week. He had a good game. I think it was on Tuesday. And then I think he had a bit of a clunker earlier in the week, and then he got a few points in the Preds' most recent game. I don't know the Preds' schedule well enough to know who they're playing, but if you check the box score, let me do it right now. I'm confident that Matt Duchene is a guy to include. I've also keyed in on the Sens and Winnipeg Jets on my lineup, and, with that in mind, I'll start in the back end because that's where it starts for me. So that is Philip Gustafsson in net. I talked about him earlier on the podcast. Matt Murray's out. They get Pittsburgh without Sidney Crosby. I know Pittsburgh has been playing good hockey, and that is they've always relied on metrics to kind of dictate their play. But Ottawa can't lose forever. You're going to have to be choosy with their spots. They've lost 6 in a row. Pittsburgh's coming in flat, too. They've lost a few in a row. So I think this is a good spot for Ottawa to kind of bounce back. Home ice has been different for them compared to on the road. Gustafsson. And I didn't have enough money because I spent it on the front end. But Tyler Ennis, every time, and I've only seen Ottawa, I think, twice this season. Both times I've watched the Sens, I've been impressed with Tyler Ennis. And that is like, he's a spark plug. He's not going to get you 30, maybe he will get you 30 fantasy points. I'm not counting on it. I'm just expecting kind of a serviceable outing from kind of a grinder type player. $3,800. It's all I had left. I spent it on Ennis. Utility spot, Tyler Bertuzzi. Montreal is playing in Detroit. We kind of talked about it a little earlier. Montreal's just not themselves. They're not really finding ways to score, and that's reflected in the betting price, and that is Detroit's favorite in this one. More on that later. But nevertheless, I like Tyler Bertuzzi to have another, maybe not as strong outing as that he did last week, because I think he had a hat trick last week. If not, he definitely had 2.
Yeah.
Bertuzzi, 5,200 seemed like a bargain to me. Moving up on defense, I parted him with Cedar. I don't even know what Cedar's last name is, but I looked into his stats. Moritz Cedar. And that is, this guy's kind of a boomer bust guy. So that is, he goes from like 15 to 0 almost nightly. And I think that this is a time when he's coming off a 0-point performance. I expect him to bounce back. Adam Larson, Seattle is being I haven't heard a lot of fanfare about Seattle, but they have been great from an analytics perspective. They got a home matchup with the Wild. Wild have had kind of a long week traveling around. I think Larson has a good showing. That brings me to my big 4, and that is I splurged on my centers and winger spots, starting with the Winnipeg Jets. LA has been terrible from an advanced perspective, and that is like just god fucking awful, and they continue to win. Cal Peterson's playing out of his mind. They're getting timely scoring. It's all going to collapse. They can't run the table in Western Canada. Well, they can, but I'm not expecting it. So I have Kyle Connor at wing for 87 and Pierre-Luc Dubois at 5,400. Skate on line together, play on power play together. I think it's good showing for them. I'm not convinced, or I'm not sold on Winnipeg as a team, but I think that they do have a good showing tonight. And then I couldn't pass up the Matthews-Nylander combo playing in Buffalo, second night of a back-to-back, both teams. Both teams are starting their backup goalies. I've said it for the past 2 weeks. These guys are progression candidates. You saw it come together last night. I think they had combined, 4 points? Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's combined 3 points on 2 goals. But I'm expecting progression from them against the shitty Buffalo Sabres team on the second night of a back-to-back.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. That's the thing. I mean, I kind of like, I guess if McDavid's not there, it's kind of hard. I can kind of spread the money around a little bit. And I don't know if Matthews, like, again, I know he got a goal last night. And yes, you're right. He's probably going to get another goal tonight. Buffalo sucks, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they stumble a little bit, right? Like either they're going to win a game 7-1 or it's going to be like a 2-0 affair or something like that, right? I don't know. I just have that gut feeling. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground. So maybe I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, hope for those extremes. I love extreme games.
Yeah.
And the Leafs on Saturday night, there's something magical about it. I don't know.
Yeah, but see,
I'll probably regret this because a lot of this is like similar to last week, and that was one of those things that kind of just bothered me. I was like, Bertuzzi again, Matthews again. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, a lot of chasing. Yeah, that's why I switched it up a little bit, and I was just like, I'm just going to go off the beaten path, pick some names I know that can score, that have had big games in the past, and hopefully I kind of hit on a couple of those. And I'm only trying to beat 5 guys right now, so hopefully I double up, and there you go.
Yeah, well, good luck to you in the FanDuel lineups. I hope we can maintain this level of success. I mean, it's always fun winning a little bit of money, but my goal is, my affirmation in the podcast world is that, you know what, maybe I will just get a little reckless with this lineup. I wanted to win enough money so that I could buy Crazy Taxi, the arcade game. So, you know what? I'm going to do it, Mick, for you, because we have our American Thanksgiving tradition coming up. I want to play Crazy Taxi with you.
Sweet.
So I'm going to enter this in a big lineup so I can try and win thousands of dollars so I can buy that for us so we can have some fun in a couple weeks here.
Cool, yo. And then on to our other segment where we can make extra money, way more money than you ever could on FanDuel. We got Bettor Advice. We take 100 theoretical dollars each week. We bet it on any combination of games, player props. We've never done a player prop before. I don't know why I'm throwing that out there right now as an option. And we try and keep track over the season. I blew it last week. I had it and I blew it. The Boston Bruins screwed me over. I even wore a jersey to represent them, and they lost to those lowly Maple Leafs. Emotionally, I felt fine, but my wallet just could not recover. And I think Columbus screwed me over. Columbus beat Colorado, which screwed up my little parlay I had with them in Vegas. So I think I'm down about $130 on the season. I'm on a cold streak in real life. My NFL bankroll is like 50% of what it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm just not feeling it. I need to get a couple easy hits in there, like a layup. Start get some positive numbers in my way. But that's where I'm at. Grant, how did you do?
So again, I had another 2-1. I can't figure out these shootout bets this year for some reason, and that's funny because I won a shootout ticket in real life what was it, Tuesday, Wednesday? I can't remember. Earlier this week, yeah. So, and that was only 2 shootouts. But anyways, otherwise my money line picks have been good. I'm 4-0 on money line picks, 0-2 on overtime picks through 2 weeks. And that is 2 weeks of active betting. We have our futures bets outstanding too. So up money. I said this last week. I'll say it again. I really like this this way of divvying up the money for me. It works. I 2 money line picks and an overtime pick is my podcast way of doing it. I've kind of applied this in real life, and it's had some success with it throughout the week as well. But I can't let you skip by without touching on the NFL bit. And that is, it's been a fucky NFL season for weeks. It was just favorites. It was just like public favorites were cashing, and then it all kind of collapsed. Last week when it was the exact opposite. So that kind of leaves me in a spot where it's like, well, what the fuck do we expect moving forward? Do we expect this cratered out underdog market to kind of pick up a little bit? Or is it just one of those like one and dones and then it's back to public money? So I haven't done enough NFL look into tomorrow's slate of games, but it's something that's going to factor into my decision-making process.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we'll see. And like I said, I might just be chasing some favorites tomorrow, so I hope things regress. Last week was a bad week across the board. Like you just heard across the industry, like everyone got killed, right? And I mean, even the last 2 night games, right? Both underdogs covered. Or no, I guess Pittsburgh, but I'm thinking the Sunday night, Thursday night affairs. Hopefully things normalize and not everyone goes broke. You know, that's what we don't want Vegas to make a bunch of money. So tonight, that's my strategy. Is I'm going to just try and just a couple layups, and I'm gonna get into the positive here. That's what we're gonna do, folks. That's what we're doing tonight. So I've got 2 parlays this afternoon, for this evening. Let's call it that. So I like Tampa Bay. I like Florida, and in my mind, when I see those 2 teams hit the ice, I think barn burner. Over 5.5 goals in that one seems like a no-brainer. They're probably going to get that many goals in like the first period. It's just going to be a rampant affair. These teams don't play defense. There's no defense in Florida. It is just all offense all the time. So I like that. And I'm going to parlay them with the Rangers. The only reason Columbus won last week on a Saturday screwed me over. There's no way Columbus is winning back-to-back on Saturdays and screwing me over. So I'm going to take that easy. I don't even know what that is. They're probably like -3. 130 or something. I think the Rangers are definitely the favorites in that game, so it's not like I'm going on a limb, but that's what I'm doing. Parlay those together. I get plus 219 for $90, which will win me about 197, which in theory should get me some positive numbers. And then, Grant, what are you doing?
So I really like the Columbus pick, by the way. As mentioned, I have 2 money line picks and an overtime pick. I'm going to start with the big ticket item.
See, I have 2. You should have went, and I should have went. We did this last week, so you can go for 2, and then I'll get back in there. Okay,
I'm going big ticket, and that is Montreal versus Detroit, and that both teams, you know.
That's a great way of describing them. Yeah, that's.
And the one thing that jumped out at me when I saw this betting price is that Detroit. They are great, don't get me wrong, but they are not -125 favorite over Montreal on home ice. Good. So, but that being said, I also don't think this game should be live closer to a pick'em. That's just my humble opinion. Probably not worth much. So when I see a price like this shifted in the wrong direction, my first instinct was to take Montreal, but then I really like Detroit. Where I landed on this was as an overtime, and that is both teams play effective hockey, and they both play with positive expected goals percentages, and they both rely on tidy defensive efforts. To me, this game isn't going to play out in regulation. It's going to play out in overtime. Somebody's going to win on 3-on-3 or a shootout. So and I think that's kind of reflected in the betting price too, because the tie, the 60-minute regulation tie, was bet down to 300, which is a little lower than what we would normally see. It's kind of the low end of the spectrum. 290 is kind of where it bottoms out. So tie plus 300 for $20. Which money line pick will I go with here? All right, we're going to go with Winnipeg Jets. So I have the Winnipeg Jets. They've been playing good hockey on home ice. As mentioned, I don't think that LA is as good. Well, I know LA is not as good as their record implies this week, and that is they continue to get outplayed but still win games. So Winnipeg is Canada's only hope to derail the Los Angeles Kings. And I don't like to make things bigger than they need to be, but Winnipeg Jets, this is all on you. Canada is riding on you. So it's a steep money line price, minus 192. It's come up a little bit, but that's what I see now. So $40, it's only to win 20.83. I like the Jets to get it done.
Yeah, no, I like that too. I was looking at that as myself. It was kind of between like Jets, Rangers on mine. So I like where your head's at there. And then finally, my second pick. I'm feeling reckless. I'm feeling like this is going to be one of those nights that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. Magical things are going to happen. We're going to see 2 unicorns this evening. So, like, set your PVRs. It's never going to happen again. This is going to be one of those magical nights. We're going to see the Arizona Coyotes win a hockey game. Not only that, but we're going to see the Buffalo Sabres also win a hockey game. So one of those rare events, one of the biggest hockey unicorns I could think of, where we're going to see 2 of the worst teams, the Sabres and Coyotes, both win this evening. If you parlay them both together, you get plus 818. So for $10, that's where my money is going to go. And just this weird long shot parlay, also kind of an emotional hedge with the Leafs. So if the Leafs falter early on and they slip and the Sabres walk away with a victory, I'm going to be glued to Arizona, Nashville later on in the evening to see, is this the unicorn night we're talking about? So that's my long shot parlay of the week. See what happens.
I hate to do this, but this kind of works against you a little bit on your DFS roster because you do have UC Saros in net. Mm-hmm. So you're playing the cards both ways. No matter what, you're going to come out one way or another.
I mean, I'm calling it like the long shots, like unicorn. This is like me hedging myself, right? So if your Saros sucks for $10 for an plus 800 ticket, it's not terrible.
I see what and that's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah. It was a bet against yourself and hedging so that no matter what happens in the all-time great Arizona Coyotes versus Nashville Predators hockey game, guess what? Mick is going to be happy no matter what.
That's it. The Leafs lose, that game is it's going to make or break my week. So,
and you know what? Nothing's more important to me than your happiness. So I hope that I know that your Saturday night's going to end well. I have one last pick. I've kind of alluded to it throughout the podcast. Ottawa Senators. I said this explicitly actually in my Dirty Fantasy segment. Ottawa Senators, better on home ice than they are on the road. They get a Pittsburgh team that is just they're at the end of this COVID. They just got, I can't remember, it was 2 defensemen back. Dumoulin and Crosby are still out. They're on the road. Pittsburgh's kind of had a shitty week. Ottawa plus 130 is what I see now. This line could probably actually even shift further in their direction, but plus 130, $40 to win 52. I like Ottawa tonight.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. I was kind of looking at it myself, and again, they're frisky. They're going to have those moments, right? Who's that guy, Connor Brown? I don't know what he's worth on FanDuel, but that's one of those things, like, if they're going to win tonight, Connor Brown could be one of those guys that's like, him and the Drake Bathersons of the world, in my mind, they have random 2-3 goal nights. So it could be one of those guys scoring tonight.
You know what? I will say this now that you've said that. And that is when I picked Tyler Ennis, I was hoping Drake Batherson or Connor Brown would be completely overlooked, but they weren't. I couldn't afford them. Mm-hmm. That's how I landed on Ennis. I wanted something better,
Gotcha.
But I kind of splurged up front. Connor Brown, absolutely. And that's I didn't say this during our DFS segment, but I do like Drake Batherson in that spot tonight.
Awesome. Nice. Sweet. So with that, that's it. It's over. You guys know where our money is. You know where our fantasy lineups are. You know about all the headlines. All that's left is the sweet gravy at this meal. And what we're going to do is Greg gets to play a little game called Stacked Trivia, where I'm going to ask him a trivia question. Out of 8 or something like that, he's going to tell me the top 10 or the top 8 highest scoring teams in something. Could be a tournament, could be a series, Could be at the end of a season. That'd be fun to do. I should have done that instead of what I did today. And we're going to see how many cards Grant can win from a random pack of Upper Deck cards that I'm going to pull. So what we're looking at today, as everyone sees, is the 2021 NHL Playoff Scoring Leaders. So I've got them up on the screen here. I'm going to grab a box or pack of cards right here. Well, this feels like a good pack, too. It feels like almost like a little bit thicker. Yeah, like that's... Oh. There might be a good card in here. Yeah, there might be a great card in this little pack. So I think we've got, just going to double check, 8. So, Grant, 3 strikes and you're out. Name the top 8 scorers from the 2021 NHL playoffs.
Okay, picking low-hanging fruit right off the bat. And that is Nikita Kucherov came out of nowhere. He was not... tell by your puzzled look that you're not buying into my selections.
No, Kucherov was perfect. You froze as soon as you said Kucherov, and you said came out of nowhere, and then you froze like as a little video popped up on the screen. So I don't know if those are correlated, but Kucherov was correct. Did you have another guess in there?
No, it was just Kucherov.
Yeah, ding ding ding! Yay, 1 card.
Yeah. So I know that Kucherov had some help. I think Victor Hedman was a part of it, and I think he finished in the top 10. Sure
did. Boom, boom, boom. You've got 1, and you've got number 4. So Kucherov had 32 points. Victor Hedman only had a measly 18, so...
So this must have been while I froze. I said 23 points. I guess I got those numbers backwards.
Oh, there's a guy with 23 points, so...
Oh, okay. Well, that's not going to narrow it down at all.
No, that's definitely not going to point you in the right direction. So,
okay, I was going to guess Braden Point anyways. So,
hey, look at that, 3 cards. Bing, bing. 3 correct guesses, no strikes. You only got 5 more to go. So,
all right. So the Habs obviously made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Final, but that was largely in part to Carey Price. That being said, I do think that they had a top scorer. Did Brendan Gallagher crack the list?
Oh, that is the first X. I think Gallagher, I don't see him on the top here. You're right. There is a Montreal Canadian up there, but not Brendan Gallagher.
All right. So I'm going to just, I'm going to hate myself for doing this, but was it Shea Weber? Did the points come from the back end?
Ooh, that is the second X. You are struggling on these Montreal picks. No, you are...
All right. Well, now I'm going to have to work backwards a little bit. So Tampa Bay played Montreal in the final. Montreal played was it Vegas?
Mm-hmm. It was Vegas.
It was Vegas because it was the stripper. It was the stripper battle.
Yep.
I remember now. It was for all the stripper marbles. Okay. Oh God. Did Mark Stone make the list?
He didn't, no. Mark Stone. Man. Where did Mark Stone go? Oh, he's like way down there. Yeah, no, I think they just kind of started sucking. So you got 1, 2, and 4. You missed out on Steven Stamkos at 18 points. He was 3rd, tied with Victor Hedman. Then Alex Killorn. So if you would have just stayed with Tampa Bay, you could have got 5. Nicholas Suzuki is the Montreal Canadian you were looking for. William Karlsson was 7th, so apparently he was the leading scorer for Vegas there. And then Nathan McKinnon and David Pastrnak both had 15 points, and they were finished tied for that 8th spot. So,
well, we had a good run. What do I get? 3 cards?
Yeah.
I'll let you pick. No, I'm a back guy, but you can choose front or back because you won this round. You beat me fair and square.
That's it. I stumped you by pulling up a random web page and making you eloquently, I might add, dance around. I'm going to go from the front so you can have the 3 back guys.
Okay.
All right, so pack open, upper deck. Where's my face? There it is. Oh, hello. Hello, Mr. Whatever your name is. Nathan McKinnon. So 3 cards. What was Grant get here? He gets a Tyler Picklick. Add that to the stack. Oh, I disappeared. It has no idea what's going on right now. Yeah, that's pretty exciting. A Devin Taves. Nice little Avs jersey here. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, this is not going so well. This ball pit and these cards are not really our friend. Oh, we got a Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, I'm not wild about any of those. I want to know what cards you got.
What cards I got? So I'm just going to add this to your stack here. I'll just take my little stack from last week and kind of got the way I've got them folded. I've got a Evgeny Dadorov. Oh, there you go. There's your FanDuel guy if you want. That's like the universe telling us what's up. Oh, I got a Young Guns. I got a rookie card, a Connor Mackey for the Flames.
Damn, that's a good one.
There you go. So one winner. I got a Jonas Larson for the Coyotes. I'm not even going to show him because that's how bad they are at hockey. I got a Matt Murray Senators jersey card. And then I've got a UC Valimaki, another Flames card. So big Flames pack, bought here in Calgary. Obviously, you're going to have some Flames cards. Connor Mackey, Young Gun.
Oh, well, you made out better than I did. I'm going to check out here to see this Dadonov character. I'm just going to check to see exactly how much he's worth, because if this is what I need to do to win us a crazy taxi arcade game, I'll do what it takes, man. Balls deep in a ball pit. You know what? Why not add Dadonov to the pile?
Where is Dadonov? Yeah, I'll do the same thing. I'll scroll through. Just again, this maybe is the universe telling us what's up. Let's listen. Let's listen to the universe. Speaking of random guys, Dadonov. I'm probably better off searching. Dadonov. $40,000. And apparently he plays for Vegas? Huh. All right.
Vancouver at Vegas. All right, well, I'm going to have to find a way to include him. He's not going to replace Tyler Ennis because Tyler Ennis is only 3,800. I'm going to have to get creative here. I might have to shift here, but
well, then
we'll
maybe that's not a sign, right? Like again, if we're getting Dadonov in Vegas, I like Dadonov in Ottawa, not Dadonov in Vegas. So,
all right,
yeah,
fair enough.
There you go.
But we wouldn't be a Canada Puck podcast without our weekly babe. I did that wrong. Without our babe of the week.
Yes, weekly babe doesn't really make sense, but that's all right.
No.
Yeah.
Babe of the week. Babe of the week. So, 22-year-old nursing student, 100% Italian, Michelle Datilio. I'll spell this out for you. Michelle, exactly like you think it is, _ DATTILIO. Michelle does a little bit of everything. She likes hugging pillows, dressing up in bunny costumes, apple picking, but we're most impressed with some of these pictures a little further down. Yeah, she is all right. And Michelle Datilio, you got to do the finger thing.
Datilio. She
Datilio.
Is. And we say schwing to that.
Schwing.
Yeah,
Big time schwing.
Good for you. Yes, I imagine you're going to have to work really hard and study because you will have to focus on your academics and your nursing career to make it in life, Miss Datilio.
There's nothing else you can focus on with Michelle.
It's about all you got, so that's, not everyone can go off their good looks forever, right? Unfortunate.
Well, some guys like us, we somehow still find a way.
You just coast by. That's life, so that's life. Huh, that's it.
Nothing a paper bag and a dim room can't fix.
Sweet. That is it. So that is another show in the books. I believe it's our third show of the season. Had a couple potholes at some point. Technical issues, which just are magically resolved now. No idea what happened there. I'm glad they're fixed. Glad I got to chat with Grant. Catch up on some hockey. Pew!
Pew, pew, and hopefully we'll make some more money today.
Yeah.
It's been a good couple weeks, and we can pile on that and turn this into something even more special. Mm-hmm. Like That's a crazy taxi arcade game.
Nice, I'm excited. I can't wait. I really want an arcade game. I've seen people make some. I'm contemplating that. Get some wood, buy some decals, customize your own game.
Yeah, you know what? That does sound all right. Well, arcade 1-ups, I have one of those already, but I want the official 90s, foot sticking to the floor,
Yep.
arcade game.
Sweet.
That's
That'd be
my
alright.
goal.
Nice. Cool. Well, I got nothing. So with that, I think we say party on, Grant.
Party on, Mick. We will see everybody next week.